Tomas Mauricio, come on down. Tyler Kistner, come on down. David Romero, come on down. Heath Elsenson, come on down. You're the first 4 contestants on the BS and Beer is ready.
Hey, gotta love that podcast show. Hey, yeah, I love that podcast show. Oh, BS and Beer is the place to go to get all the Saints news. Hell yeah, podcast show. Hey, gotta love that podcast show. Hey, yeah, I love your podcast show.
There it is. That's what we wait for. Yes, welcome in another week, another edition. The BS and Beer podcast crew recording live from the SEC Sports Pub with me. To my right, Heath Elsenson. To my left, Tomas Mauricio. Tyler Kistner on the board. I'm Dave Romero, and I'm your host. And for the next 2 hours, we'll be talking more Saints and useless information than anyone needs to know about. So from Ruston to Monroe, Farmerville to Jonesboro, grab a drink, sit back, and relax, because we're going to do 97.7 Sports Talk Radio and the SEC Sports Pub, BS and Beer style. I don't even need the list anymore, man. I look at it, it's like a little cheat sheet.
You almost like you mess yourself up when you look at it.
No, distract myself with it. Man, listen, the Saints, 21-18, they pull out a victory. It doesn't build confidence.
Hairs on their chinny chin.
Yeah, and it's a little uncomfortable. But I think before that, getting into we need to celebrate. There was a retirement in Buffalo. I don't know when. Are they having a parade? Or they're going to have a ceremony? They're going to drop the jersey for how they do they put the jersey up there for Vontae Davis.
Yeah.
He just retired at halftime.
At halftime.
He said, "I had enough.
I'm done.
I'm not going back.
I got nothing."
I got nothing. I mean, I have never in my life seen anything like that. I think I've seen it a couple of times in, like pickup games where a guy got mad and just quit in the middle of the game.
I've actually seen it in games where they did come back and they still had nothing and they just kind of walked around and didn't,
I mean,
but no one actually said, "I'm done."
Now from everything, and the funny thing is, like I say, from what I gathered, but the reality of it is nobody really knew anything. I guess he went and took a shower and was like, I'm not playing at the standard.
He told somebody, and that somebody then told a coach, and the coach was like, "What?"
Yeah, he told a teammate, I think, or something. And
he sounded like my ex-wife. He said, "I've become accustomed to a certain standard, and I'm not getting that standard anymore.
I'm out of here."
Yeah, so I thought
he's not giving that standard anymore.
Yeah, so anyway, the standard by which I become accustomed.
There you go.
And I just walked out. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I feel like I didn't write it down, but I feel like there was another little piece of NFL news that was just so ridiculous. This one's by far the best one. But I thought there was just another piece of news like, oh, my God.
You mean all the kickers who got fired after the games on Sunday?
That could be it. I mean.
We never had so many going on so quickly.
I mean, like, I'll sign that guy and we just put him on like some kind of reserve thing and just let him play for whatever team we playing for. He'd be our MVP.
Right. Yeah.
So we have the kid's name is Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, yeah.
Misses 2 field goals.
Yeah.
2 extra points.
Yeah.
He goes 2 for 4, but.
Well, and the important thing was he had already missed the one where they could have beaten Pittsburgh.
Right.
The week before.
Yeah.
And he missed a critical one.
He missed a couple in that game, too.
Yeah, but there was one in
the
particular.
really critical one, at the end, but it wasn't just one in that game.
So that was like,
either.
okay, you're on a very small little leash here.
Right.
You can't screw up.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so how many? I heard there were like 18 missed field goals over the weekend.
Yes.
And I mean, bringing it back to the Browns, I mean, is there another team that can figure out how to lose like the Browns? And that's what's so disgusting. If you're a team that actually loses to the Browns, you mad because you didn't play well. I mean, and this team is littered. I'm talking about the Browns with top 10 draft picks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Bucks. They, one day you worried that they might put it together,
And they have.
And they have. But then you sit there and say, how come us? How come they couldn't fumble the snap? When they're trying to run the clock out and we run it back for a touchdown,
Well, we
win the game.
understand it as Saints fans.
Well, a
older
long time
Saints
ago.
fans.
Yeah.
If you've been around long enough as a Saints fan, you remember those days.
Yes,
Some-
sir, I do.
Sometimes what
Yes,
you
sir,
just
I
sit
Too
there.
well, unfortunately.
I feel like I kind of have to,
Yeah.
because
That's
like
simple.
I really
can
don't.
empathize with them
Yeah,
because
I mean,
I remember being there.
I can recap the 115 season.
Of course,
if
the
you'd
problem
like.
is Cleveland's been there for 50 years
Well, that's the
himself.
thing,
So, I
yes,
mean, it's
yes,
not like
that's
it's
it.
new.
It's
but-
the older fans that still think like that. If you're a newer fan, if you're like 30 or under, you don't
Yeah.
even know those bad days. You
No,
might have been
no,
like,
no.
oh, the Dicka years were bad, but after that, so.
Right.
Well, I tell you what, we got Pick'ems, we got John Hendricks, who's going to come on like he does every week. We
Yeah.
have a little injury segment.
Yeah.
We got Tomas's rant.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to want to miss that.
No, sir.
NFC South report. We have all kinds of stuff. Tomas, Heath, I say we get started with this show.
Get it
Do
rolling.
it.
Tonight on BS and Beer Radio Broadcast Corporation Incorporated, it's the Action Suspense Airline Highway at 9:30, followed by this year's award-winning suspense thriller Camp Beast. Next, it's hilarious family fun suitable for all ages with Drew, Sean, and Mickey. Then it's Sex in the Cell Block, the hot new show that's too racy for daytime. That's Sex in the Cell Block at 11 tonight. Then it's Saints Talk with Dave, Tomas, Heath, and the BS and Beer podcast crew. Every night here on the BS&B Radio Broadcast Corporation Incorporated, a limited liability corporation.
All right, so we're going to go over real quick the Pick'em. Now, we have our Pick'em segment, the MyBookie Pick'em segment. Don't forget, you want to sign up for MyBookie, you tell them BS and Beer is the promo code that you want to use. That's BSN Beer is the promo code. And jump in, get in our pick segment. If you actually, we have your two lowest scores drop. So if you want to join, you can still get in and not be behind anybody.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
go onto the Yahoo site. You can send us an email at bsnbeer@iCloud. Several people have emailed me. I've helped them get set up on it. So join it. We have close to 100 people, and it's lots of fun. We talk about it. Matter of fact, Tomas is going to call off a couple of names, and if I do say so myself, I might be one of those names.
No.
Man, I'm in 7th place.
Really?
I'm in 7th place.
Well, let's see. Number 1, Saints Craft Toots.
That's my boy.
Number 2, tied, Lord Boudreaux
That's familiar names.
and Little Dice.
Little Dice.
In 3rd place, Brewjammer, Saint Benny, Bill Gluckman, Cable Tonka, Javin, Dubbit, Speed Bump McGee, 12.5 PSI.
Well, you only have to go about 10 deep here.
Well,
just to
they're
top-
all tied
Oh,
at
God.
10. And Guatemala Mouse picks.
That's like someone doesn't know how to say Onyemata or Kikaha.
Guachtalimalas. Guachtalimalas.
Okay.
There
Good
you
job, by the way.
All right. And then there's Dave.
Yeah, that's me. So I
There
didn't
you go.
realize I'm really like 26 because
Exactly.
there was
But
like
don't feel bad
a
because you
22-way
got to
tie.
scroll way the hell down. I only got like 4 right this last game.
Ouch.
Man, it
Ouch.
was rough. That was a rough
I managed a
out.
whopping 5.
Nice. Hey, so I should be proud of my 9. But I think there's some kind of
I'm
glitch.
48th out of 96. Where are you there, Heath? I haven't found you.
Well, that's part of the problem with having so many people.
Yeah, we have a
In
lot.
the league.
96 people in here.
Yeah, like I used to only finish.
Oh, yeah.
no, I,
You're
I-
Can't be that
22nd.
bad. Okay.
You're
yeah,
22nd.
so-
last year I finished no less than like 75th.
That's
because
correct.
we only had
Yeah.
like 78 people.
You're
That's
13th,
right, yeah.
though. You should feel pretty good.
Well,
You're 13th.
I'm ready. You know how I like to do?
There you go.
I like to lure them into a false
Well,
sense
I
of
really
security.
am because I'm way down.
Way down. Well,
What is it?
we like to jockey
That's
for
okay.
position,
That's
and then at
all
the
right.
end, it's not where you start; it's where you finish.
I'm like the Saints. I'm kind of feeling things out here for the first couple of games.
Hey, don't forget
That
if
went
you,
right over
we have
everybody.
some.
Okay, go ahead.
We have some. I'm not trying to talk about all that. Don't make me call you out on it. We
I'm
want
not scared. Go ahead, brother. Give it your best.
to get some people to call in the hotline. We have two.
What's the hotline number, Dave?
701-901-1295. We already have 2 calls. Our call to action last week. We have 2 emails, and our buddy Carnell. I can't wait to read his email.
Oh, all right. Now we're sounding good. All right.
And so if you want to call, that's 701-901-1295. It's cool. Get your call in like after the game. We got several calls, like literally the game finished and Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. I'm getting hotline notifications. So it's people letting us know how they feel and think right
That's
after
good.
the game. That's a great thing. The email address, bsnbeer@icloud.com. Give us a call. Be part of the show. Let us know what you think. and we'll get to it. But, I mean, look, big win. The Saints, we start off with these high expectations, and I'm not saying they're gone yet, but I am saying that you go in with high expectations like Super Bowl talk, and then all of a sudden you're scared to death to lose to the Browns in Game 2.
Yeah.
So we finally got over that little hump. We got lots to talk about. 97.7 Sports Talk Radio and the BS and Beer podcast here for the next 2 hours talking Saints football. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer podcast crew, 97.7. We're about to get into that weekly thing that we do. Listen, the big news, the good, the bad, the ugly. The Saints won. They're at 1-1. And listen, I know it didn't start out the way that we wanted it to, but I really feel like this was an important win. Obviously, the Saints have always seemed to start slow, and they improve as the season goes on. The thing is, we just have to avoid that 0-4 start.
Yeah.
Now, we have a tough test coming into town next week, or actually we're going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Atlanta down like 4 starters, and
Yeah.
they should be right for the picking. And it just depends on what you think. You know, Carolina beats Dallas in week 1. Atlanta beats Carolina in week 2, but Carolina lost some guys, important guys.
Yeah.
Their tight end, which is Cam Newton's go-to guy, Olsen, they lost him. So I'm still don't quite know exactly who Atlanta is, but I have to believe that we'll be able to score points on them. The problem is, based on what I've seen so far on our defense, but this is right about the time last year where the Saints started finding their groove.
Well, let's hope so. You know, I still think they have scheme problems. But, man, defensive backfield overall still not looking so hot.
No, I think if I had to pick out one area where it might be still a problem, it seems like, Tomas, the defensive backfield is where the problem's at right now.
I go with Heath. I don't think it's the players. I think it's the scheme.
All right. Well, you know what? It's time. It's time for that segment.
You're a bounty hunter. Man's got to do something for a living these days. Dying ain't much of a living, boy.
It's time for Good and the Bad and the Ugly.
Hey, man, we have a tight budget we working with, all right? I don't want to hear nothing. Do a pretty good
must
job.
have had a cold that day. He called in and did the voiceover.
All right, Heath, let's start with you, man. Tell me you're good from the game on Sunday.
I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit here and go with the Williams interception.
Wow. I mean, that's a big play.
Yeah, I mean, that was something we really needed. Glad to see it out of him in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a little hard on him the first week, and
Well, I think expectations were so high because every report out of training camp was that he was the next amazing
so next year
safety.
we are. I'm going to call it now. We are banning any positive talk of preseason or of training camp. Training camp beats this guy's having a great camp, because we hear that every year and then we find out it doesn't mean squat.
But okay, I already know that, and I've known it for
No,
but I still can't help myself.
Well, that's the point.
I mean, I can't. Like, you would think I'm a grown man. I would be able to, just know. Don't
Are
get
you
excited.
A growing man? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm a grown.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
I'm
I
a
thought you were
grown
growing
man.
I'm
that
growing,
too.
but
I'm
it's horizontally, but it's still growing.
Exactly. Wait a minute. I don't know if I want to hear about. Hold on. All right. Let's not talk about any of your horizontal growing.
I thought we were talking about those Subway sandwiches again.
The Subway sandwich is 4.5
Not really
inches.
6, but
that's
okay.
right. That's right.
So, okay. You want my good?
I want to hear your
Well,
good.
he took my good. No.
Okay. Well,
I actually have another
Everybody's good.
I think that the good in this particular case was the offensive line, but in particular, one guy, Armstead. Because we didn't hear jack about this guy who was
Myles Garrett.
all world, and he was put on pressure on Roethlisberger all game long, and I didn't hear jack.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Teron Armstead, because of the injury history.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
He
doesn't
played the
whole game.
He doesn't
shut.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he just doesn't get the notoriety that he should because of the injuries. But when he's on the field, I guarantee you, everybody in the NFL, defensive ends across the league say, doggone, I'd rather not have to go against him.
And by the way, on one play, the safety came up.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you see that play?
I saw that on Twitter. do not bring your safety this close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I mean,
my God.
he goes up and he just grabs the guy, like, a good block in the chest plate, and then he just takes him. It's like, yeah, and just throws him down. And it's like, boom. And oh man, I kind of felt bad for the guy, man.
I was like, well, there you go.
And this will segue into my good.
All right, what's your good then?
My good. Hang on, it's a double-edged. He's so smooth, and I feel like it's almost like Breeze. Every week he could probably end up being.
No need to ask, he's a smooth operator.
That's right, Kamara. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. His ability to avoid getting hit, solid. His ability to spin. And his
sideways.
strength,
Keep his balance.
and keep his balance, and his strength to explode. Like there was one particular play where, I mean, there's so much action it would take me 15 minutes to describe it. But he goes through, he gets hit, he spins, then another guy hits him, and then he still's kind of going backwards.
He's
and has
going
the-
backwards in an almost sitting position.
Yeah, and
then he
explodes.
spins another half a turn, and he's sideways, and
then
he still pushes forward.
for a first down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like unbelievable. It like, those big 40-yard runs where you make a couple of guys miss. That's one thing, but that play right there was maybe a 8-yard run,
Yeah.
6-yard run, something like that. And it's just like
Well, the
your
play
jaw
that got
drops.
called back, where he made it right to the edge of the corner, you could see no linebacker had the speed to catch him.
Right. It
Right?
was too easy. Yeah,
And I was
a
just like,
little
well, I just coasted in.
little flip toss there.
Unfortunately, got called for holding by 2 players. And
two players. Yeah, well, they wouldn't have caught him anyway. I don't know why they held.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they did. But really, I was going to say the segue is that you have a young rookie, Davenport. We gave up 2 first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
You know what? I hate when people do that, and I just did it myself. Like, it doesn't matter what we gave up for him. It's not his fault that the team decided to give up 2 draft picks. But because of that, then the next thing we're hearing is, well, he's raw, and the expectations just went way down. And
he played well, though.
and he did. Matter of fact, I have the PFF results.
Yeah.
He ended up, and let me get back to as it's related to Armstead. All summer long, he's going up against Armstead and taking a whooping, and probably lost all his dignity, self-esteem, pride, everything. And then he gets in the game, and he's like, well, wait, this isn't as hard as practice was, because he's not going up against Armstead.
Yeah.
But here is the overall grades on the Saints offense, the highest ranked players. On offense, let me get to defense because that's what we were talking about. But where are we at? Defense. Okay, linebacker, Demario Davis. This is good to know.
9 hit.
86.6.
Yeah.
Marcus Williams, 86.0.
Yeah.
Defensive end, Marcus Davenport with an 85.8. Marshawn Lattimore, and this is reassuring, right? After his first week. He gave up some plays this week too, but at least he wasn't getting destroyed.
Scheme.
81.8. And then A.J. Klein.
Also had 9 tackles.
Yeah, had 9 tackles, and I think a lot of people were ready to write him off and send him packing, like from the beginning of the
And
game.
I don't know why. I still don't understand why.
I think a lot of people they're not happy with him. I mean, we spent a lot of
the
money. He was
dude
supposed to be our
came
prize
in,
free agent.
Yeah, I understand that. He also got hurt.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, it's like I don't really know what people expected. He played well behind Kuechly. We signed him. He came in. I thought he was playing pretty well. He might have been I'm not claiming he's the greatest linebacker in the league and everything, but I thought the guy played pretty well, and then he got hurt. Yep. And this is the first time we've seen him in a while. And it was like he was the forgotten man, almost even in got Te'o in the middle all throughout the preseason and training camp and everything, and I never could figure it out. But I'm not surprised to see Klein play that way.
Well, he ended up with a good grade. And at the beginning of the game, I mean, he was just like, he probably made 3 of the first 4 tackles in the game. It was like, the first one is like, oh, look at Klein. It's nice to see him doing something. Then he continues. And, while we're on this linebacker discussion, because you're talking about, am I right here, 2 of our highest ranked players, rated players were
Davis and
linebackers.
Klein.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the thing about it is the Saints have been missing and match. How you say that when we're going on here? Mixing and matching all these different linebackers.
You might have had it right the first time.
No,
mismatching.
Yeah, mismatching.
Yes.
That's what I meant. That's
Yeah,
what I meant.
okay.
So
I thought
slip of the
that's where
tongue
you
there.
were
And now we have all these different linebackers. that we were sitting there complaining. It's like, man, can you put the guy who we signed to be the middle linebacker,
still
the guy,
haven't
Well, he
done
still
that.
who has
wasn't
the
a middle
skills-
linebacker, but
No.
But, the guy
Klein
with the
was
skill
that
set to be
middle
a weak side, let's put him on the weak side, and Klein's playing strong side. But there were times in the game where like, what are they doing here? Like the way they were lined up is who's playing strong side
But
here?
Klein and Davis oftentimes were in there making these tackles when Teo was in the middle. So it wasn't like they were playing a 5-2 or a 3-2-5, or they weren't playing they were playing 4-3.
Right.
So they still made tackles, but still playing on the outsides. They didn't make tackles from the middle linebacker. That was still Teo.
Right.
Well, yeah, not in the beginning, though. Klein opened that middle.
Yeah, but where he was making his real impact was when he was on the outside.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the offensive grades from PFF, and
Okay.
I think it's so funny that I spend so much time. I really, although talking to people in the industry, and
Pretty
stuff,
effing frivolous, but go ahead.
they've improved the staffing. When it started, it was just basically anybody they could get to sign up, and they would give them like a little.
Yeah.
Like here's how we
Crash
do it.
course, here you
yeah,
go.
yeah, this is how we do it. But I guess that it's been bought out by, what is that kid's the Collinsworth maybe?
Collinsworth,
Is that right?
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
now they've upgraded all the actual scouts into people who are more knowledgeable, and it's become, well, that's what they say.
Maybe.
But as soon as I see
we
it,
don't really know. But
depending on I agree or disagree with
Yeah.
what they say, that's how much credibility they have.
on
with
the
me.
weeks that they tell us that Lattimore's getting back to Lattimore and all, we're going to use the stats. On the other weeks, maybe not so much.
Well, anyway, it's interesting, right? So here we go. 3 of our top 5 offensive players rankings are offensive linemen. Larry Warford, 95.9.
All right.
Ramczyk, 89. And so, man, 95. That's dominant.
Yeah.
81.9. Ryan Ramczyk.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas, 75.9.
Yeah.
Teron Armstead, 74.1. Now, keep in mind, while that's a good score, it's not a phenomenal score, but he was going up against
Miles Garrett, who I never heard his name called for a sack
he
or
did.
a rush.
He did make one play,
Did he?
and I'm not sure if it was a sack. I just recall that he made one play in the entire
I don't
game.
remember
So,
hearing his name.
and then Max Unger, which this surprises me because
He was getting eaten up.
Yeah, I watched the film, so this starts making me question this again. I watched the film just maybe a couple hours before we came on air here, and he got eaten up on like 3 different occasions, giving up sacks. So this wasn't
because
like,
the pressure
we
was
got
really come from the
beaten.
middle.
Yeah. And so I feel like, and I've heard others say it, so it kind of maybe
So there was an
validates my
article
opinion.
today I saw about it.
And so there you go. We have a guy who's ranked as one of our top 5 players, and I don't think he played very well. So take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. But I still would like to go back to Marcus Davenport relative to our offensive side, where aside from Larry Warford, who is 95.5, I mean, you talk about Davenport, 85.8, almost 86. The guy is making plays. I'm watching him. I keep hearing criticism about him against the run, and I'm sure that if I really just sat there and watched him on every play, but I just don't break down the film for 2 or 3 hours.
Well, part of that probably still goes back to people incorrectly throwing that off on him when Fitzpatrick ran for that first down at the end of the game in Tampa.
Right, and there was a stunt.
Okay, and there was a stunt going on, and it wasn't as straightforward as look. But right away, everybody said, "Oh, Davenport's
lost
the one that
containment.
lost containment."
I'll be the first one to say that. And matter of fact, while I'm apologizing for me seeing things, when I watch the game, I see things out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, "What?" One of the things is, it seemed like Coach Payton was getting on our tight end, Watson, for
doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
whatever,
and I said, wait, I thought he stopped and then took off again. That's why I watched it.
No,
he
didn't stop.
never stopped.
No.
He ran.
It
he
was
ran
the
up the
rare
field.
missed throw by Drew Brees.
Right. But for whatever
Drew
reason,
Brees said, "I rushed it." In the interview, he said he rushed
But
it.
not only was he on the sideline talking to Watson after that play, Peyton has since said that they got to get better play out of the tight end position.
I mean, he was obviously
I don't
upset
think
with
he
Watson.
might not have been. Yeah, but he might not have been about that play. He might have been about something else.
Right. I mean,
You
it
know?
could be, but it could have been something. Or how Watson, he's kind of one of them gangster type players, man. He's he's probably in there doing something, telling coach off and saying inappropriate things.
Yeah, how rowdy those. How rowdy those
Coach
annual Man of the Year candidate guys are.
Yeah, exactly.
Always causing some kind of
probably tucking in some of his gold chains.
Talking about he probably went up to coach and like, I need a new contract, or something.
Right.
rubbed them the wrong way. That has to be it. But I like that. You know how those man of the year candidates, they're
those
always
guys, man,
they're always causing problems.
You got to look out for them.
Yeah. So all right. So we already went over the picks. We playing in this fantasy. And I think
we gave the numbers of the picks, and we're still going to make our picks later. But.
Okay. Well, you know what? We got to make our picks at the MyBookie picks in the last segment.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
but
saying.
we do the fantasy. I think at some point, and I don't think we're really prepared for this, but I think at some point we have to. We're going to have to go over the fantasy stuff as well. Let me get this email real quick.
Go ahead.
I agree with Tomas right off the bat. He's
Thank you.
starting off with
there
wrong.
you go. It's a good email.
Mark Ingram really hurt the team by getting himself suspended. Do y'all think
today.
that him missing the first 4 games will help him get a better contract?
No.
The Saints miss him. And he said, I think they should. If they don't, I'm going to Airline Drive and burn it down. Man, I love this podcast, Cornell. Now, that's how you do an email
burn it
right
down.
there.
Now we got
That's
it.
how we
Now
do
we
it.
got
Yeah,
So-
well, Cornell, go ahead and get your gas and your mattress ready.
That's right, brother.
Because not only is he not going to get a better contract
He
from the
might not get
Saints,
any
I
at
don't
all.
think he's going to get any contract
I mean,
from the
dude,
Saints.
we have struggled running the ball with outside of Kamara. And I was saying the first half we struggled with Kamara. You don't think that they're not sitting there like, man, boy, we maybe underestimated.
Well, I'm kind of surprised to see some of the scores of the offensive linemen because I didn't think they opened a
Heath, you
lot
have to
of
cut that
holes.
off, brother. The music's playing. Go
Oh,
ahead. Cut
okay.
them up.
You can finish your thought. Hey, it's the BS and Beer Podcast, 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. Don't go anywhere. We come back. We got some John Hendricks for you, Canal Street Chronicles. Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer Podcast crew. Listen, 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. The Saints, they come out of the game essentially injury-free. There were some scares. We had Pete went down with what was ankle injury.
Ankle, yeah.
Worried me a bit because he did break his he broke his fibula, or was it his flactoid bone in his lower leg?
Something to do with his groin.
His groin.
There
Okay,
you go.
so and I was worried that
He
maybe
broke his
something
groin
happened.
bone.
Yeah,
That could be a problem.
Yeah, that could be a real
yeah,
problem.
that can
I
be
heard
a
that some
problem.
people's curved afterwards, but go ahead.
All right. All right. So Pete goes down. They tape his ankle. He's back in the game. Tomas, you mentioned a little bit about Kamara.
Yeah. At one part in the game, he seemed to be not walking quite as gingerly back to the huddle. And then after that, he went to the sideline, and he sort of bent over, and one of the trainers came over to talk to him, and he was like, So I think he
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit when he's talking
Well,
about
I'm
this.
sorry.
It's upsetting me.
But the good news is he
Well, he
came
kept
back and he
playing, yeah,
played.
so,
It can't be that bad. Maybe somebody stepped on his foot. I mean, it could have been any little incidental thing, so.
All right. Well, and there were maybe, I thought I heard a couple other bumps and bruises, but nothing really major. Now, for Atlanta, exactly.
No.
Knocking on wood here, knocking on wood. Atlanta, they're going into the game. They're going to be missing 3, if not 4. I heard a 4th. You have the linebacker, Jones.
Yeah.
You have the safety,
Neal.
And then who else was the third? Was it a defender? And then the running back. One of their 2 running backs.
Yeah, right. Freeman.
Freeman may not play in the game.
Right,
So
he didn't play last week, so.
So man, you're talking about like getting banged up, and like you're big time players.
Yeah,
So
but they still
manage. Again, at this point, what's crazy is you don't know who the teams are yet. Like the Saints, I believe, just based on history, the Saints are just slow starters. They improve as the season goes on. Some people speculate that the way that they conduct training camp and they're not very physical in camp, that there's an acclimation period. And, I think there's validity to that. Having said that, you don't know who's going to show up. So is Atlanta, again, Carolina beat Dallas in the first week.
Right.
Atlanta
At
goes-
home.
At home.
And Dallas is not great.
No, in Dallas, and I agree with that. But are they great or are they not great? Is their offensive line what we have come to expect from them?
It's not anymore. But
So then you have Atlanta, and Atlanta, didn't they lose their season opener?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so they lost their season opener, and then they come in and you think, I wonder what's going to happen. The injuries, they beat Carolina. So now you just who is the Falcons? Who are they? Are they the team that can? They're going to be able to score points in the way that our defense has struggled, especially in the defensive backfield. It makes me a bit nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. The weird thing is at this point is to be talking about, man, everybody, we all got to look out for Tampa.
Right.
You know, who's Atlanta, who's Carolina right now? What do they say? Tampa's the only one rolling over people. Yeah,
that team is very close and very loose. You saw the Kirkpatrick's interview after the game.
Yeah,
he came out wearing a big eagle chain, and he had this little tight black. It wasn't his clothes.
Yeah.
You know who he's trying to imitate, right? The MMA fighter.
Conor
Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor. McGregor.
Did you see the little clip of him and the other guy during the game
rubbing their chin beards
rubbing
together?
beards,
Yeah, that was a little like weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
But that's what I'm telling you. They're playing really loose, and that's what you have to be careful of. When a team feels that confident and they're playing that loose, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it could all come to an end once Crab Legs comes back.
Right.
Oh, Crab Legs not getting back on the field if
Well,
keeps
you know,
playing the way he's playing.
you never know what's going to happen.
It's a
there.
3-game suspension. But listen, if you want to talk about, who's the best looking team at this point, I mean, Tampa Bay's beat a New Orleans team that, listen, most everybody's picking them to be a contender, a Super Bowl contender, then beat last year's champion. I mean, you talking about strength of schedule. The Saints go into it looking at it like, man, we got our 2 cream puffs early, so we can like kind of sharpen up, look some practice games.
Yeah.
And then you think Tampa Bay fans are over there doing, man, look, how are we going to overcome this 0-2 start to try to make some progress? And they over like world beaters.
Yeah.
And we looked up, and Tampa Bay's winning by 7, and there's 4 seconds ran off the clock. We're like, it had to be a kick return. What happened? Nope. There's another long
75-yard pass.
Yep.
It's just like.
And the second one was the same thing. The next score, 14-0. It was another big long pass.
To a tight end.
Yeah.
So all kinds of stuff. Matter of fact, another thing that we should touch on real quick is for the second time in 2 weeks, Taysom Hill comes off the bench to send Drew Brees to wide receiver so that he could run a play. Now, what ended up happening was a false start. Timeout. That's right. So they call a timeout, and it was right before the snap. So Taysom Hill kind of takes off to the right, and I'm just like, what is he about to do? It's like a novel, It's like, what's going to happen? I can't go to sleep yet until I read one more, chapter or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, and then so then later on, the guy's lining up as the kick returner.
Right.
The problem is
several times.
The problem is you have, they keep kicking the ball out of, and my phone, as soon as the ball goes out of the end zone, blows up, and I look up, and it's like 5 Twitter notifications, all like, oh dang,
yeah.
Like, everybody's
waiting to say it. Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward till I think the third quarter is my notes. Let's see, the third quarter. Yeah, third quarter.
7 yards deep.
7 yards deep. He's like, I'm taking it out.
Yep.
49-yard return. Yeah. And I mean, a shoestring tackle away.
One tackle away from going all the way.
Breaking it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what would have happened in that dome?
That's the next thing I was going to say.
Oh, my God.
This guy has turned himself into an absolute fan favorite hero.
Yeah.
What's some of those terms?
Legend.
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 He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast, Yana. He's a beast.
That's right.
I don't have a
I mean, he's doing
Dang
everything. He's doing everything. I mean, the guy wants to be on the field. Everywhere they put him, he's having success.
Exactly.
I mean,
and they're interviewing him afterwards, and Morstead walks next to the interviewer and goes, "That's Jim Thorpe."
The Jim Thorpe.
Yeah.
Because you remember Thorpe, quarterback, running back, wide receiver. He played
kicker.
everything.
Yeah, he did
Well,
everything.
well, here's the thing. Now, let's get serious for a minute, because you know how I like to be serious.
All right, be serious now, Dave.
I mean, he's a
a
playmaker. He's a beast, Yana. Okay. Drew
I love
Brees right now only completing 80% of his passes. So I'm wondering, if it drops, if he's
if
gets
it
into
down
the
to
78,
72,
76,
could be
that they
bad.
got to start thinking about bringing Hill in if Brees can't produce.
I tell
better
you
than
what.
that.
I'm worried if I'm Teddy Bridgewater.
I tell you what, they struggling to find a replacement for Ingram for these next 2 games.
Yeah.
They will line him up at running back.
Line him
They
up at
will
running
do it.
back,
I
yeah.
guarantee you. Because here's the other thing. You don't believe for a second that Peyton doesn't sit on the sideline and do,
Yeah.
I'm going to look like a
Did you
genius.
see? Okay, I'm going to tell you. In the Chicago game, okay, they pulled a playoff that was fantastic where they faked it to the running back, faked the pitch, and then he pitched it forward to the tight end coming across.
Yes, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that play, I was like, I'm betting you dollars to donut holes that'll be in the Saints playbook.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not already. But at some point,
And it could be number 7.
every time that something like this happens with Taysom Hill, Peyton is over there saying, I can make myself a genius.
Yeah.
somehow I can make myself look and like it's like a toy, and he can't put it down, and I'm going to put him at running back. I guarantee you, we will see him at running back. At some point in the season.
Sure.
So, and if nothing else, maybe some wide receiver. I'm not. The problem is there's a lot more to being a wide receiver than just run out there.
Maybe we'll go into a wishbone, with Kamara.
Here we go.
Wishbone.
Well, you have to think, wild.
And what they do is put Breeze like at the left wing. You have Ingram and Kamara, and then
he
Taysom
can
Hill play
certainly
quarterback.
come in and run it back. It's no different than a design run play for him out of the shotgun or something.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's a
really
shotgun
not
play. That's
any
all it
different.
is.
Okay, so not that I ever think that would happen, but I was sitting here shaking my head like, you silly, and I'm just thinking how exciting that would be if you had those three guys and you start misdirecting everywhere and like running that Jamel Holloway, Oklahoma,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh man,
that
it would be
awesome.
incredible. It would be fun. Matter of fact, I've just spent like 3 minutes here talking about it, and I'm all excited.
There you go.
I can't wait to see something. But this guy,
Well, Coach Payton listens to our show, so
no.
I'm
when
sure he's picking up these things.
He sends me texts all the time asking me what I think about things. Sometimes I feel like it's not my job. He don't pay me to do that. But thanks for letting me know, Coach. BS and Beer Podcast, 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer Podcast. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. It's wall-to-wall Saints talk with Tomas Mauricio, Heath Elson, my man Tyler Kistner on the board, producing the show. I'm Dave Romero. Listen, Saints win. We pulled it out.
Well, before we get started, Dave,
Okay.
I have something to say now.
All right.
For all our listeners, I know you've been patiently waiting for that
Here
extra
comes
hour.
the Bitcoin.
You've been waiting for that extra hour. But until the Saints actually get their crap together, there will be no extra hour. When the Saints do, then I'm telling you, look forward to that extra hour. And you're right, my brother. Bitcoin. Just remember.
And here's the thing.
Been blown up several times, and every time it bounces back better than before.
There you go, and we even have it. Tyler puts it on the board there.
There it is right
so
there.
So Bitcoin
Where
is,
are we now,
is
Tyler?
trading at
$6,344.
There you go. So 0.0032 will be the initial payment.
Right. And we can easily make up for, like, since we have standards and pride.
That's correct.
We're not going to do an hour show until the Saints are playing better
no
football.
Extra time. That's right.
What we can do is just do, instead of what's the big, we could just like double the 0.06 to 0.12 and then make up for all the lost money.
Don't listen to Dave. He has no idea what he's talking about for Bitcoin. That's all right.
I'm still trying to get you talking about the Bitcoin wallet. I was at Walmart and I saw the one with the cowboy on it with the lasso.
There you go.
And it had the Velcro like.
Oh yeah,
that was his idea. The Velcro is a good
Yeah.
idea.
No.
Like you just don't see that anymore.
No. Well, I'm thinking about the one that's got the protection on it, so nobody can get your code numbers.
By the way, real quick, we were talking about Atlanta and the injuries. It's Andy Levitre, the guard. That's
yeah,
gone out on IR.
How'd I forget that?
That guard, yeah. Okay, there you go.
Okay, all right. Hey,
Thanks, Heath.
Hey, hour number 2 is the bonus round. Can you talk a Bitcoin for the bonus round?
Thank you.
That's a regular.
Thank you. And now it's time for the bonus round, where you play in front of dozens of people for tens of dollars. Tomas, Heath, Dave, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Let's play BS and Beer Podcast.
Come on, Heath, get into it, brother.
All right.
Man, these guys. Yeah, Heath, I'm not feeling the excitement from you.
Yeah, I know. Heath, you're
what's
kind
going on
of
here?
dragging today, brother. What's wrong?
All right, so
Long night.
So should we? we got to finish our bad and ugly.
Bad and ugly still, yeah.
And I mean, to me, the ugliest thing on there was Gonzalez, the kicker. I mean, for the Saints is a good, but I mean,
Yeah, we should have put that on our
matter of fact, Lutz goes out and hugs the guy, and
So did
gives him
Morstead.
some support.
Morstead and Lutz, both
I
of
mean,
them.
and you know what?
Yeah.
As a kicker, you got to appreciate that. And if I'm glossing over that, literally, our kicker
That was a good.
after the game went over to their kicker who missed 2 important field goals and 2 important extra points. Maybe it'd be more fair to say missed 1 important field goal, and
The one that counted at the end, he choked.
yeah, and the 2 extra points, which depending on how everything went down, they could have still won the game. The 2 points really didn't make the difference. It would just been winning by 1 instead of 3. Yeah. So, having said that, there is a point where it's like, yeah, I want the win. I wouldn't have it any other way, but you got to feel bad. It's just not the same as a quarterback dropping back, stepping up in the pocket, throwing the ball, and the ball hits the receiver in the hand. He can't bring it in. you're a kicker, and it's like, look, it's all on you. It's
what you do winds up much more in the spotlight. I mean, you don't have 40 opportunities a game to either make something happen or make a few mistakes in there somewhere. And
I use the analogy of like a shooter. It's like you have a guy and he shoots all day, and I was using this as an analogy for Breeze. You shoot all day, and if you miss one, nobody notices you just because you still scored 32 points and whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't pass you the ball all game. But at the end of the game, you stand over there in the corner and they kick it out to you, and you got to shoot the game winner. And it's like you either the GOAT.
I'm a power forward. I don't usually shoot the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you either the hero or the GOAT. There's no in between. He had a great night. He missed that last shot, but man, he had 38 points and 12 rebounds. It's he missed the game winner.
I'm sure Lutz and Morstead went over there and told him, shake it off. He'll bounce back. And look, he might. The guy was the record holder for made field goals in NCAA, Division I, and Lou Gross award winner in 2016.
Look at you with all the.
There you go. How you like that? I don't need no papers.
Right there.
Yeah, man, I got all my stats highlighted, and he's over there just naming off stuff off the top of his head.
And a 7th round draft pick.
There you go. And you have to remember that Lutz has a real connection with this because, remember, he was on no team until the Saints decided, we got to do something about this. And so they brought in Lutz, first game of the season. Oh, by the way, you're the kicker from now on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it can happen at any time. And so these kickers, they know, one bad game, Carlson, who was drafted by Minnesota.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
I mean, right after the game, hey, son, after the shower.
Well, this kid was drafted, his 7th round, but he was still drafted. I mean, so he might be back. We might see him again. You never know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dig
Especially
into
they
the.
fired how many? 13 this last weekend.
Yeah.
Let's dig into the bad and ugly.
All right.
Who's ready? Are you ready? You got something?
I'll go ahead and let Tomas go first.
Well, I got one. I knew y'all weren't ready, so or wouldn't be when I threw it on you.
No,
so
I got a bad. I'm
all
okay.
Right,
There's plenty of
if
bad.
you
It's
want
not
me
like
to.
I have a lack of.
Yeah, if you want
options,
bad. All right. I'm going to give you bad that maybe everybody didn't notice, but I sort of noticed in the game. Usually, Drew Brees is very good about time management. Drew Brees usually knows exactly where we are, how, use the clock and so on. It seemed to me that he didn't do a very good job at the end of the game. At the end of the game, somebody was next to us was saying, hey, take your time. Remember? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to eat more clock. And I sort of agree. I was like, we already ate like 3.5 minutes ago. Yeah, take our time. We can score. As we get closer, just keep making first downs. But boom, all of a sudden we score, and all of a sudden it's like, well, they got time left. Yeah. Too much time left. So I'm kind of thinking that might have been a bad. Just overall, I just didn't think Drew was in sync for this game. Just from the very beginning. He missed that pass to Watson.
I remember somebody saying that earlier in the game.
Yeah,
he just
was
quite
off.
Of course, it's when you had the week he had the week before, even though it was in a losing effort, his personal.
Yes, I know it was a really good week, but this is how it works. I mean, you're only as good as your last game.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're the superstar or not. In this particular game, and I know that this defense, even though they're not thought of that much, they're much better than Tampa Bay's defense.
Yeah.
So, okay, I get that. But it just, from the very beginning of the game, he just didn't seem to be, So, as many times as I'm always like, man, they always shortchange Drew. They never give him this credit. I'm going to have to say in this game, I'm going to say Drew Brees was a bad. I'm sorry, but that would be my feeling. His time management just was off a little bit here and there. Okay.
Well, and you know what? Here's the thing. It's really hard to give Drew Brees a bad because he's so consistently good.
I know.
No. And the thing is, every once in a while, I like to see, hey man, let's hold him accountable.
Sure.
But on the other hand, it's like, God, without him, where would we be? So it's a tough thing.
We
but
might be 2-0 if we had Hill
Taysom Hill in court. I'm telling you, if Drew Brees drops below that 80% completion mark, we got to start thinking about a change. I mean, for me,
what was your
the
bad?
Saints' offensive line's inability to pick up the blitz was my bad. Watching the game, watching all 22, there were the Saints gave up 3 sacks. There were countless other pressures that we were pressured into throwing the ball away, and in opportune times where we could have scored or kept a drive going, and it's just.
So see, this goes back to my Drew Brees being bad. How many times did he hold the ball too low?
Okay, so let's get into another thing. I don't know, and
because we were talking about Fitzpatrick in that game in Tampa Bay.
Getting rid of the ball
He's
so
the
quick.
one who came over that. Man, it was like 1.5, 1.4.
Here's something that I'm starting to get a little concerned about. It's great. What's the Tyler? What's the statistic for Michael Thomas? He's broke a Saints record.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 28 catches through the first 2 games, which is breaks the Saints record through 2 games. And
Okay.
Heath, you said it's the NFL record too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 26 by Andre
Rison.
Rison back in the 90s, I believe, was the.
I mean, what have you been doing, man? I mean, eating your Wheaties over there or what?
I
I
think
mean,
the Saints record was 18 or 16, something like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
Held by
Well,
3 players.
what I'm a little bit worried about is it's Michael Thomas and Kamara. I mean, that's the only thing going on. So now Ted Ginn.
Ginn got in the act a little bit.
Yeah, Ted Ginn had 4 receptions, 2 huge receptions. If you don't realize it, when the Saints went on to take the go-ahead points, it was Ted Ginn for 8 yards, then Ted Ginn for 40-some-odd yards, and all but put us into field goal range.
Right.
And then incomplete pass, or maybe it was a run in there, and 2 incomplete passes, which, again, stopping the clock. You would think
I'm saying
on offense and defense, after what happened in Minnesota last year, the Saints would be one of the best teams in the league
with the clock.
Yep. Running the clock out, playing defense at the end of halves to make sure that big plays don't happen. But I heard, and I'm sorry I can't remember who I heard point this out. If you look back the Saints' last 4 or 5 games where a big play or almost big play, if you look back when we beat Carolina in the playoffs, there was a play at the end of the game that kind of went like, oh, wait a minute. I was close to getting caught. Funchess, a ball at the end of the game was thrown, and
yes, I remember that.
Running,
Yeah.
the defensive back kind of wasn't.
Yeah, it was a play before the side.
Right, wasn't looking, and the ball kind of went through his hands, and it was kind of like, what just happened? That could have been the end of our playoff run right there.
Yep,
Then you have
right.
Minnesota. Then you have this game. The Saints do not play very good defense in those situations, in the game, trying to
so-called
scheme,
prevent,
defense,
kind of let them run the clock out, and
Yeah.
I mean they give up huge chunks of yardage.
Yeah.
And that's something that needs to be corrected immediately. And as far as the offense goes, you would think that at some point.
So what was your
Coach
bad again?
Payton-
I lost count of all the things you're talking about.
Offensive line not being able to pick up the
All right.
points.
So
Okay.
anyway, I'm just saying
get
there's a
back-
lot of bad.
back on topic,
All
yeah.
right. Anybody else want to throw something in there?
Well, we kind of touched. I don't have a lot to add. My bad, though, is just continues to be defensive scheme. And, in fact, I think it was bad scheming was more responsible for that long touchdown pass than Crawley's performance was
Yes.
to Callaway there.
Yeah, that's my ugly. So yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
All right, so there you go. We pretty much covered all the bad, and based on the way you guys are treating me, I feel like
You did everything.
I
You
feel
did
like
bad, ugly, uglier, ugliest.
I'm just saying.
Now, who's responsible for this unwarranted attack on my
Do we
person?
have time? All right, let's get a hotline call in.
All right.
There it is, my man, Alan. Thank you so much.
Good close.
Real quick, that's the way you do it. That's how you get your hotline call on first, although not until the second hour. But anyway, listen. Okay, so he'd like to win, not how we played. He wants to get more players involved. We just got finished talking about that.
Yeah.
Right now, it seems like
He mentioned Traquan Smith in particular, and I would have thought we'd have seen him show up a little more.
He first
at this
catch
point in the season.
of the
Yeah,
season.
He did have his first catch.
Yep.
but-
Thomas and Kamara, beasts.
I'm a beast, Your Honor.
Okay,
Yeah,
we all
no
agree
doubt.
on that. Let me tell you, Heath says a little bit too high on Boston Scott. So but anyway, and Davenport needs to play more. So,
I would agree with that.
So, and I agree with that. So, Tomas, we already talked about the way we a win is a win. It's hard to win in this league. The Saints have been historically slow starters. We got the win. What do you think about more players involved?
Well, I can see that. Look, we've got Cam Meredith, who we paid a lot of money to, hasn't played any games yet. Okay, so at some point you have to either decide he's going to play or he's not going to play. Because we can't be one-dimensional like we are. He is absolutely correct in saying that Drew drops back, first thing he's looking at is Michael Thomas. If Michael Thomas is not open, I'm going to get sacked. I mean, or can I hit Kamara on a flat route, You only have 2 guys involved in the offense. Look, we got 2 tight ends, Josh Hill and Watson.
Do we?
Yes, we do. They're not going to be Gronkowski kind of guys.
I know. I'm giving you a hard
but
time.
on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, we got a shot because we actually have a guy who's willing to do it.
You know, I'm
and
surprised.
Peyton agrees since he's called the position out.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Traquan Smith needs to have a little more confidence, with Drew. But we have Cam. I'd like to actually see more of Carr as well.
One of the things that I thought is that one play. Do you remember when Carr got they I don't know what they call it, pass interference or whatever in the end zone?
Yes.
I thought to myself, if Karen Meredith is there, you high point that ball and it's a touchdown. And
Carr could have caught it.
Yes, he could.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good play. And we're starting to see. I think Meredith will be back. I think they need to give him the time he needs to get ready. And
Maybe
I think
he comes
that's
back
what
with
he's doing.
Mark Ingram.
97.7 Sports Talk Radio. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We got a Tomas rant coming.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer Podcast Crew, 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. Saints come off of a season evening victory over the Browns. You like that? I don't know if that really was.
Not really worried about that.
Yeah. Well, okay. You didn't like how I worded that. But what is it? 21-18.
Yeah.
It's kind of an unusual score. Don't forget, this is the just an observation, all right? This is the segment, the time that most of you guys are waiting for. Everybody, lean into your radio so you don't miss a single thing, because right now,
Oh my God, it's gonna blow!
It's a Tomas rant.
That's right. I don't want to hear these facts.
Daddy, she's gonna blow!
I have opinion.
I got a nuke coming in. It's going to blow in less than a minute.
Facts don't mean anything to me.
It's gonna blow!
My opinion overranks the fact, okay?
It's gonna blow up, it's gonna blow up!
And she will. It is a mathematical certainty.
all right.
He's snoring. Somebody wake him up.
Yeah,
over
wake him
there.
up. Tomas, you're on, buddy. You're on.
Hey, I'm giving a sound effect of a monster. There you go. See?
Okay, you need
catch that?
you need to warn me when you're going to do that. I'll go ahead and get it for you.
All right.
He's literally, if you're watching the VCast, which you all should be watching the
That's
VCast
right. You gotta watch that
occasionally. Go BSN Beer,
Unfortunately, I don't have Samsung endorsing it, but it is a Samsung. But go ahead. Go ahead.
and so I guess now for his rants, last week it was the four-headed.
The three-headed Hydra.
Okay, and
This week it's Orthros.
okay. And I don't know what none of that
All
means.
right, let's go.
I'm about as familiar with that as I am with Bitcoin, but
So sorry.
so we're supposed to understand that by the sounds that are coming out of the
Well,
phone.
Orthros was a two-headed monster.
Okay, all right.
You see? So this week's rant is a two-headed rant.
I see where he's going here.
You see? So the first part of the rant is same old from last week. Hey, Mark, how you feeling? I understand that you're practicing with some high school kids in Florida. Man, I hope that's getting you in shape. Because when your happy behind gets back here, I expect you to carry this team all the way to the promised land, brother. Yeah, because of you, we're sitting back here hoping and praying Kamara doesn't get hurt because we're playing him way too much in way too many bad situations. So, I heard somebody, I want to be nice because Dave wants me to be nice.
I do.
I heard somebody talk about, we should have a celebration because we miss Mark Ingram so much. We should have a Mark Ingram Appreciation Month. My behind.
Did that actually happen?
I
Yes!
have no idea.
You don't want me to tell you what podcast it was, do you?
No.
In any case, I'm not appreciating Jack because he's not here. I don't know. He's playing against some high school girl team in Florida. I don't know. I hope you're being careful. I wouldn't want him to get sued for some,
All right,
action.
move along.
All
Move
right.
along.
So there's the first part of this thing is, come on, Ingram. We're waiting on you, brother. When you get back, your happy butt had best be in the most tremendous shape you've ever been. I want to see you beat the living crap by yourself of every team we play after that. All right, I'm just saying. Even when we have our break, I expect you to score. I'm going to put you on my fantasy team. When we're on the break, I expect you to score me 30 freaking points, even when we're not playing. All right, that's my first part of my rant. That's my second part of my rant. Now, my fellow brothers here, they know I was the guy who said Crawley's going to make this team. I said it.
Claim to fame.
I'm just telling you. Now all I hear is bad mouth after bad mouth about Crawley. Well, we only have one cornerback. Well, we only got Lattimore as a cornerback. We don't have any other cornerback. We need to get somebody in the corner. What a crock of crap. Now all of a sudden, he gets beat on this pass play that Cleveland scores on. And everybody's like, well, Crawley ain't worth the crap. I don't know what's happened to him. Last year must have been an aberration. Well, they didn't use that word because they don't know it. Maybe we didn't know what it was that happened last year. I have news for you. I'm going to go back to what we talked about earlier. Scheme. How in the hell do you let one of the fastest players on the team, you're protecting the outside edge, so he's going to come to the inside, and you don't have a safety back behind? Where was the safety? There was no safety anywhere. He blew by Crawley, and there was nobody else back there. I go back to scheme again. How many times in this game? Look, we agree. Marcus, because of sheer talent, intercepted that ball, and he really intercepted that ball. It didn't hit his body. He was like a receiver. He put his hands out. He caught that ball on the run. Didn't even break stride. So we know that Marcus Williams is a talent. No doubt about it. So only thing I can say is that the reason it was so ugly, again, is scheme, even though the defense played a lot better. And I will say a win is a win. But I'm going to be very honest because I am that kind of guy. We lost that game. Only because the great man above said, no, we can't go 0-2. We can't let Cleveland win a game. That's the only reason we won that game. Because really we lost that game. And we didn't lose that game because of Sean Payton's calls on offense, even though there were some questionable ones. We didn't lose it because of our linebackers. We didn't lose it because of our defensive line. We didn't lose it because of our defensive back. We lost it because the schemes didn't work. They were better this week. I'll give them that. But they still need some work. And again, we need a game where all three phases show up. So when that happens, I think we have something. I think we'll move forward. I still don't think we're a great team. Don't get me. I'm just telling you. I think we're a good team. And over the course of the year, we can become a much better team with experience. But right now, I'm putting all the blame squarely on the defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. Brother, step up to the plate. Figure it out. All right, there's my rant.
The opinions expressed by Tomas do not necessarily reflect the thoughts and views of David Romero or the BS and Beer podcast.
What am I then, boy?
You're a loudmouth schnook.
All right.
Keep that thought to yourself.
Here's the funny thing is I watched that play several times. Crawley bailed out. Like as soon as the ball snapped, he was already 10, 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. He takes off running backwards. And somewhere about the 10-yard line, he has his back turned. He is running. And Callaway, I think the kid's name is.
Yeah. It's the rookie from Florida.
Flying up behind him. I mean, the guy is unbelievably fast. He's a first-round talent that dropped because of issues in college.
Yeah. Right.
But, man, that guy can fly. And I'm not trying to excuse anything. I just think that if you really watch what happened, at no point did Crawley, which means I agree with you, that there should have been safety help because Crawley's got his back and he's running as fast as he can, and Callaway is just flying up behind him and just passing him.
And we know
right
Crawley's about technique, not about speed.
Yeah, he's not a speed guy. He's a size guy. 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. We'll be right back with the NFC South report. All right. So, Tomas, you were talking about the new rule change and all the stuff going on in the NFL right now with the hits. None of them. No, we did. We have been affected by that in the first week.
Yeah, I think the two rule changes that I think we need to sort of review a little bit here are the helmet, leading with the helmet, where there's the crown helmet, this targeting, whatever you want, what are these things, whatever you want to call that and roughing the passer. Because I think I was more worried about the targeting. That seems to have sort of leveled off a little bit. But the whole question of roughing the passer, I'm a little befuddled by some of the calls that are being made. Because some of these, I'm like, dude, they're playing football. I don't see that, Again, I understand if you pick up that quarterback, you take him off the ground, and WWE,
Whichever. Well, I don't remember.
WWE, slam him into the.
Do we have to have another lesson, junkyard dog? And,
yeah, exactly. Then it's different. But I didn't see that. For example, Green Bay, Clay Matthews comes in, clean shot at the quarterback, hits him, when he hits him, the quarterback naturally goes off the ground because he hit him. Yeah. And then, boom, hit him again. Boom, flag, driving the quarterback into the ground. Man, I watched that several times. There was no way he didn't really pick him up and slam him down. He just hit him.
Yeah.
So I have a problem. I'm sure, statistically, we probably have the most roughing the quarterback calls in the first 2 weeks than we've ever had in the NFL. I'm pretty certain about it at this point. And I'm just thinking, look, it's a game. You know, I can understand if something's blatant. Now, talking about blatant, Atlanta playing Carolina. Your boy, Donkey Boy, he goes running with the ball, and as he's going to the ground, I think it was a safety.
Yeah.
For Atlanta. I mean, to tell you, he tattooed that boy.
Yeah, that was dirty.
And there couldn't be anything else. That guy needed to be thrown out. No doubt about it. More of the dirty birds, you know. So there you have it. But that one is a for sure. But there are other ones that I'm watching. There was another game, I don't remember which game I was watching. The guy went in, but really it was his shoulder that hit, not his helmet. They still called it targeting. I was like, that wasn't targeting.
Yeah.
There's
been some seriously questionable calls.
Yes,
absolutely. I do worry. Like, a lot of times I hear people say, it's unwatchable. And I'm like, it's game. But there is getting to a point where there's so much subjectivity in the game. That it is getting to the point where it's like, you get there's going to be a bad call. I get it. I'm not saying I won't complain about it, but there's going to be a bad call. Now you've added a whole nother level of almost all bad calls.
Right.
It's I get you can't hit them in the knees, and I know why they did that. Then you can't hit them in the head. Well, okay, I kind of get that. Now they're hitting them in the midsection, and that particular tackle, the one from the Green Bay.
Clay Matthews.
Yeah, Clay Matthews hit. I mean, that was a form tackle. Hit him right in the middle. But no, there's still a problem with that, and it's gonna become a problem. Hey, don't go anywhere. We got the MyBookie picks of the week coming up. Put your house on it. Get ready. BS and Beer Podcast 97.7 Sports Talk Radio.
Best bumper music in any podcast.
That's right. Hey,
here.
Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer Podcast. It's the segment that you all wait for because you all got bills to pay. It's the MyBookie. What is it? Picks of the week.
That's it.
MyBookie.com.
MyBookie.com.
You play, you win. Listen, BSN Beer, or is it BSN Beer? Which one is it? BSN Beer. That's the word that you want to use, your promo code. When you go sign up for them, make sure you know
N beer.
We sent you.
That's
all right. So you guys ready for the pick segment?
Let's go, brother. I'm ready.
So here's our pick segment. I decided to start with the two greatest picks in Saints history.
Brett Favre goes back to pass. He pumps. Now he fires over the middle. Intercepted. I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. It was intercepted by Tracy Porter near side to the 40, and John Sullivan runs him down at the 47-yard line.
It's picked off! It's picked off! It's Tracy Porter again! He's running free! He's going to go all the way! Hand out stretch! It is a Saint touchdown! 70 yards on the return! 70 yards on the return by Porter!
Yeah. Come on.
Break down. Come on.
Man, I love that. That's the best segment intro. Matter of fact, it reminded me of something. I heard a little bit of Zach Strief's
I was just going to say something, right? I'll go ahead.
Call during the game, and I got to tell you, the first week, I wasn't super impressed. I was kind of like, but I heard just a little bit of the stuff going on in the fourth quarter, and I was like, I heard some energy and some enthusiasm that I didn't really hear before. And quite frankly, man, I think I've changed my mind. I'm going to have to listen some more. But right now, I have a much more positive outlook.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I thought, that it was better. I'll give you that. But I'm watching the LSU game over the weekend. And, LSU makes that field goal. All right. So you hear the regular broadcasters doing it. Then they said, now they're going to hear the voice of the Tigers.
Yeah.
That is the guy who should be calling the Saints games right there, brother.
Yeah.
Because when that man came up and kicked that field goal, the excitement, you could feel it. Your hairs were standing up. Man, that was the way to call it. That's what I'm missing. So I'm just saying.
I guess.
And that's saying something considering he's following Hawthorne, who was pretty good.
Yeah.
Calling Tiger games.
Did you hear the LSU game when he did that?
No, I didn't. But I've heard him before. I mean,
yeah, he's
I'm
really
familiar
good.
with him.
Really good.
All right, let's get to these picks. Let's start off. We have the Jets at the Browns. The Browns giving up 3 points. Heath.
I'm taking the Browns at home and giving up the 3. They're going to get the win over the Jets.
You get off the schneid.
Yep.
Tomas.
I'm agreeing with that. Brownies. Yep.
All right, Tyler.
Let the free beer flow.
There you go.
All right, so now we got the 49ers at the Chiefs. Chiefs are giving up 7 points. Heath.
I am taking the Chiefs and giving up the 7 at home.
Me
Patrick
too.
Mahomes looks way too strong right
Yes,
now.
sir. Too many points being scored by that team.
Tyler.
I'm going Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs win, but don't cover the spread, so I'll take the 49ers and I
Whoa.
All right.
All right.
Well, I'm taking the Chiefs, and I didn't mention that I'm going with the Jets. So let's
Jets?
see. Yeah, I forgot that. I didn't. You know, man, I'm so worried about you guys getting yours.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so here we go. We got the. Did we do the Raiders
Not
and the
yet.
Dolphins?
The Raiders
Okay.
at the Fish.
All right. So the Fish giving up 3. What you say, Heath?
I'm taking the Dolphins and giving up the 3 at home.
Okay.
My father loved the Raiders, but I'm sorry, Pop. I got to take the Dolphins and give up the 3.
All right, Tyler.
I think the Raiders win outright.
I'm going with the Dolphins. I'm gonna give up those 3, and I'm going with the Dolphins. All right. So now the biggest underdog I could see. You got the Bills going to the Vikings. 17 points. Heath.
I'm taking the Vikings at home and giving up the 17 to the hapless Bills.
Man.
Yep.
I can't do it. 17 points
17
is just
points.
too many freaking points. I got to take Josh Allen and the Bills.
All right. Tyler.
I'm on Heath's side. I think the Vikings double them up. I bet they win by 30 or something.
I think
I'm
the
with
same thing
Vikings.
with the Rams and game last week. I'm like, oh, you got to take those points, and they crushed. They crushed
Yeah.
Arizona. I still feel like I got to take the 17. I mean, the Vikings could score 17 and coast the rest of the game, and then just let the Bills have a field goal and not win. So
There you go. Me too.
all right, so I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Yep.
Let's go. Colts at Eagles. Eagles giving up 7. What you say, Heath?
I'm going to take the Eagles at home and lay the 7 to the Colts.
Tomas.
Me too. Taking those Eagles.
Tyler.
Eagles.
Eagles. All right, I'm going with the Eagles too. Now Green Bay. I hear it's gonna be cold out there in Green Bay.
It's
Tyler.
always cold. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
gonna be like 60 something.
Luckily, they're playing in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, luckily. All right, so the Redskins are
Still gonna be cold in Green Bay.
are 2.5 points underdogs at home. Heath,
No, not enough. I'm taking the Packers and giving up the 2.5.
even in that frozen
Even on the
tundra
road,
of FedEx
Yep.
Field, though.
Yeah.
Even in the frozen tundra, I'm going to take the peg leg to win this game. I take the Packers.
All right, Tyler.
Packers. It's too cold, Packers.
All right, I'm going with the Packers as well. Let's see, Bengals at the Panthers. What's the weather like in Cincinnati this weekend? Well, anyway, go
they're
ahead.
playing
And
in
pick.
Carolina,
playing in
so it
Carolina.
don't matter.
That's my joke, man.
Yeah, it wasn't a good one. I am taking the Panthers, unfortunately, and giving up the 2.5. I kind of want to go with the Bengals, the 2-0 Bengals, unbelievably, but no.
Isn't the
I don't
Bengals
think
an
so.
old group from the 80s?
Bengals?
Oh,
Yes,
the
it is.
Bengals. All right.
Well, it's going to be raining in Cincinnati, and all that water's going to be rolling down the hills, making it all the way down to Carolina. They're going to have a water
right.
problem there.
All right.
But I still take the Panthers and give up 2.5.
Tyler.
I'm with the Panthers on this one too.
All right, so I'm going Bengals, man. Let's see. Titans at it's the weather, man. It's the weather. Titans at the Jaguars. It's a push game.
Yeah, I have no idea how this is a push game in Jacksonville. I'm taking the Jaguars all day.
Yeah.
Jaguars.
Tyler,
Yeah, I'd take the Jaguars for a lot of spreads here. Yeah,
make it a sweep. Broncos at the Ravens. Ravens giving up 5 points.
You know what? I'm going to take the Broncos on the road here and take the 5 points.
I just can't believe in Flacco. I love Snead. I'm so sorry that he ended up on a team that's never going to throw him the ball. So I'm going to go with the horses. Go with Broncos.
All right.
This is another one. I think the Ravens win, but I think the Broncos cover it. Cover
All
the
right.
spread.
Me too. I'm going with the Ravens. Giants at Texans. Texans giving up 7 points.
Ah, man, you know what? I'm going to take the Texans at home and give up the 7.
All right.
I wish the Giants would win so that when we go into New York, they feel better about themselves and aren't going to try to kick our butt. But I just can't see it. The Texans at home, I got to take the Texans.
Yeah, I'd take the Texans too.
I think I'm gonna I got the Texans. So we got the Chargers at the Rams. Rams giving up 7.5. Heath.
I'm going to take the L.A. in this one. Okay. And
That's a good pick.
Yeah, I'm going to take the L.A. Rams and give up the 7.5.
All right.
I was really much higher on the Chargers when we first started, but I'm not now. So I'm taking the Rams and giving up the 7.5.
All right. Tyler.
I'm taking the Chargers on this one. I think 7.5.
Oh, nice. I'm
They can
going with
cover
the
that.
Rams. All right, we got the Bears and the Cardinals.
Speed it up.
Four points the Cardinals are getting. So, Heath?
The Bears.
All right.
The Bears.
Bears.
The Bears. All right. Cowboys at Seahawks. Seahawks giving up 2.5.
Taking the Seahawks at home.
Seahawks.
Cowboys.
Seahawks. All right. Gary's team. The Garys. Lions. Patriots at the Lions. Lions getting 7 points at home to the Patriots.
Sorry, Gary. I'm taking the Patriots and laying the 7.
I'm taking the Lions. I think they'll lose, but I think they'll be within 7.
Sorry, Gary. Patriots.
Lions, Gary. Lions.
There you
All
go.
right. Steelers at the Bucks. The Bucks undefeated. It's a push game.
I'm taking the Bucks at home.
I'm taking the Bucks at home.
Steelers.
Bucks, baby. I'm going. Wait. Why am I saying that with enthusiasm? All right. The Bucks on a roll. They're hot. You got to take them. All right. And the big game is the New Orleans Saints are going to Atlanta, and Atlanta's giving us 3 points. Heath?
I'm taking the 3 and taking my Saints.
No question, brother. Saints all the way.
Saints all the way.
Saints all the way.
All right. Hey, listen. Clean sweep. I don't know, man. The Falcons are beat up. I think that the Saints
Still have to be careful.
They're ripe for the picking. I think the Saints start putting it together. I think that we'll start seeing a better product.
Bold call. Bold prediction. Watch Taysom Hill in this game. That's it. My bold prediction right there.
That's your bold prediction.
Taysom Hill.
Do you have a bold prediction, Heath?
Yeah, the Saints are gonna look in the third week this week like they did last week, and Atlanta's in for a long night.
I got one word for you: E.F. Hutton. All right, E.F. Hutton. Just remember that.
All right, I got it.
For no
E.F.
particular reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I thought that's a name that people pay attention to when you talk, and I want the people leaning in. And
that's why you have no money left for retirement. But okay, we're going.
I think E.F. Hutton went under a long time ago.
All right.
Exactly.
So we're you guys gonna have to start catching up because I'm like in 7th place here, and I'm starting to feel bad for y'all. I don't want to make y'all look bad. I'm in 7th place. Let me go through all this. Where's the? See, man, I can't even get the. All right, I'm just take my word for it. I'm in 7th place, and I'm moving up fast in the Pick'em League. And I just don't want nobody to get their feelings hurt when they get this whooping that I'm about to put on them this weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I just heard you pick, so I'm not worried.
well, here's the problem: is we do the picks now, and you can still go and change them.
Yeah, I know.
So once you hear my picks,
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna
start
go
writing
back
your
and
picks
change them.
down so I can see how many of them you change.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that too. That's how I keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
I keep you on your toes because I don't want no problems. Don't want no problems.
We got to see
Anyway.
how the lines change too.
No, that's true too. You got to keep up with the lines. But
That's correct.
But anyway, hey, listen, don't forget, download the podcast, like us. We appreciate all the support. Listen, watch the VCast, BS and Beer, on YouTube.
YouTube.
All right, download. I know, man.
Somewhere,
It's so
yeah.
much stuff. It's somewhere out there on the internet.
Catch us on Twitter.
On Twitter, BS Saints BS is mine.
Heath.
Got nothing. Yes.
Tomas. I'm sorry. I pointed at Tomas.
19.
I confused them.
Tomas
Tomas 19. We enjoy hanging out with you guys, talking football. Follow us on Twitter. Send us your emails. Hit us up on the hotline, 701-901-1295. We appreciate all the support, and we look forward to talking to you every week here on 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. We'll talk to you next week.
Hopefully so. Later.
Everyone is so dumb, miss. We have a lot of fun. I love this podcast. We have a lot of fun. I love this podcast. Too. We have a lot of fun. I love this podcast. We have a lot of fun. I love this podcast.